So let's start with this module of technology transfer. My name is Ana Diaz, and I welcome all the students to this module of technology transfer. My name is Ana Diaz, as I said, and I work in a technology transfer office from Minho University in the north of Portugal. And we do this technology transfer between university and industry. Last one, please. So, second, yes, here. So, I would like to speak with you about this bridge. What a technology transfer office does is to make the bridge between university and industry. So we can make the bridge walking on this bridge from one side to the other, from the university to the industry, or the opposite side. Let's say that in the university we have a technology that we want to transfer to industry, so we go from the university to the industry. We can walk, we can go by car in the second lane, or we go by air trolley, whatever. We must transport technology and knowledge from one side to the other and make this bridge working between university and industry, and that is the aim of a technology transfer office, is to do this work. So let me present in the first place, contextualizing a little bit on this particular need that we had in the project to understand the textile companies' software that the companies were using. So there is a big gap between the supply and demand of digital qualified personnel, and of course the nature and the development of industry in Europe will depend on this bridging this gap and improving digitalization in the side of industry, in the side of the university and youngsters. And so the use of software, it's very important inside and outside companies. The textile sector demands many textile workers with digital skills, and such as workers are designers or woven or knitted fabrics, knitting, embroidery, machinery, programming, clothing designers, or textile experimental design researchers. So all this personnel needs to have up-to-date knowledge on software and digital skills, and have digital skills to manipulate this software. And what we did was to understand what was the situation in Belgium, Czech Republic, Portugal, Slovenia, and Romania in what concerned software use. So we went to companies to ask them what they are using in terms of software. And Razvan, please. Next slide. We would like to know also in the side of the universities what was the opportunities for open source and other software they use in university partners organization and their specific context and knowledge and research. So to do this, we count on our partners in the different countries, and we could then bridge this need of the end textile workers that were coming from university that can be put in enterprises. And so the aim of the university study on this bridge between one and the other was to understand what was the situation of software use in universities of the different countries. Next slide, please. So, first of all, let's see what we done all together, because this was a collaborative work of all partners. So we prepared the survey where we could analyze strengths and weaknesses of companies, and at the same time, on the side of the universities, we could analyze opportunities and threats. So for the textile companies, we have from the textile companies, we have applied this survey in the different countries, as I mentioned before, the Portugal, Romania, Belgium, Slovenia, and Czech Republic, to provide this SWOT analysis and support the development of tech transfer guides to textile companies. So that was our aim. So what is a SWOT analysis? I don't know if the students know what is a SWOT analysis, so I bring this slide to explain what is a SWOT analysis. So when we analyze strengths, we characterize the business and what is competitive advantages over the competitors. And when we analyze weaknesses, we analyze the characteristics of the business which make disadvantage relative to competitors. So what we did was to analyze these sides in terms of software use. What software use make them more competitive and less competitive. And from the side of the universities, we try to understand what are the opportunities and the threats that universities and the sector, in the view of the universities, are facing. So in the opportunities, we analyze the elements that external environment of these companies, of textiles companies, that allow to formulate and implement strategies to improve profitability, and of course, digital competences, digital software is and software for enterprises is crucial for their development, and the threats, the elements in the external environment that could bring integrity and profitability to the businesses. So looking at this all study and analysis, we could see what is our proposal in terms of technology transfer. So the SWOT analysis was done in 27 companies from the 5 regions in the European countries. So 10 in technical textiles, 6 in knitting, 5 companies in embroidery, 4 in weaving, 3 in home textiles, 1 in spinning, 1 in protective garments, and 1 in yarn production. So the results of this analysis I can show you below in the next slide. So from Belgium, most part of the company, so there is different textile companies on the environment, on the ecosystem of this university. So each university has its own ecosystem of textile companies, and we characterize these industries that are around Ghent University in this case. Most of the companies are in the clothing, fashion, and technical textiles. Small but mostly big companies were represented in this study, these 7 companies. Companies are not aware of the usefulness of the software for their business, so researching this topic and promoting alternatives and options is important. The human resources department has little knowledge of the software needs, only for the embroidery, companies, this is better with high to medium knowledge of software use. That was a case in the context of the companies consulted by our partners in Belgium. In Czech Republic, we had the analysis done in 4 companies, and in the field of the companies or from the fields of embroidery, conductive threads, and protective clothing production. The companies also introduced to the market several smart textiles products, such as smart protective garments, gloves, and textile components for e-textiles. Majority are active in the field of technical textiles and personal protective equipment. All responders are export-oriented. So we will see in the final analysis what they have in terms of software use. In Portugal, 5 companies were consulted. So in Portugal, in our surrounding of Minho University, we have mostly companies from clothing and fashion, and companies from knitting. I mean, we have others, but we consulted these areas. Several of companies had activity, at least in 2 fields or 2 sectors of activities, and all of them are export-oriented, and production and many works in private label regime. So they work for international labels. So they are subcontracted to make different products. Slovenia, our partners from the Maribor University have consulted 3 companies. Companies work in the field of clothing, engineering, and one of them in embroidery. The questionnaire was completed by 2 respondents as a company owner, and 1 respondent from the company R&D unit. So one of them have also inside the R&D unit. That is very important. All respondents are university educated, and one of them has a master degree. So that implies the level of expertise of these companies in Slovenia that were consulted for this analysis. So finally, we have still, next slide please, we will see that Romania, we have 7 companies that were consulted. Most of them, they were consulted by our partner Technical University of TUIASI in the north of Romania. Most of the companies were working in knitting and clothing and fashion. Several companies had activity of 2 or more textile domains. So that was the situation. So in general, in terms of areas of work, we can see that most part of the companies consulted had clothing and fashion, and they were from these areas. Technical and textiles, weaving, knitting, embroidery, home textiles, spinning, protective garments, yarn production. That was mostly from the different countries, the companies and areas of the companies that were consulting from this SWOT analysis. In the next slide, we can see already that in terms of the questionnaire that we made, we can see that there is these different interpretations. Most of the companies, can you put a little bit down, please? The slide. Yes, most of the companies have proprietary software, and some use different areas. And so they are based on proprietary software and are happy with this proprietary software, dedicated software to their company's needs. In terms of the use of a number of technologies that the universities proposed as being essential for providing from the research, TextGen, ARA, Weave, ARA, Paint, Abacus, few know about them, so there is a lack of knowledge about this kind of software that is available to universities in their research day-to-day life. And so we can see the gap between the existing enterprises or companies needs. They have and use proprietary, so dedicated software to their companies, and there is a number of softwares, like the ones that are here indicated, skills and new digital uses for their workers. So in the next slide, we can see that in the design modeling of needed structure areas, 3 companies use M1 plus pattern software, and 4 companies know it or would like to use it. So there is small knowledge about this software in the different companies that we consulted, that were in total 22 companies. Next slide, please. So in the design and modeling of clothing and garments area, a variety of proprietary solutions are used. Proprietary including big companies like Gerber and M1 plus pattern software. Free software is less known as visible in this graphic. So most part of the respondents say don't know in the green scale, as you can see. So in the next slide, we can see that in the design modeling of embroidery structures, 3 of the companies use Inkspace, 2 companies use ink stitches, other know it or would like to know more about it, but the majority don't have experience on these softwares. So from the consulted companies. In the next slide also we can see that in the research in experimental design, most companies do not know or know little about this software. So the situation is really that there is a lot of low knowledge on this kind of software. Next slide, we can see that when the companies was asked if the software in use responds to current needs and the future to create new products, 22 respondents said that the software responds to future needs. Only 2 companies answered no. So that means that most part of the companies are happy with their software that they use to their day-to-day life, but they are lacking this need for the digital transition in terms of the new softwares that are at the moment in research at the different universities, and that they can be transferred to these companies. So in conclusion, we can say in the next slide that next slide please. In conclusion, that we can say that all companies are using software solution internally in different areas, focus on their own expertise and activities. It was clear that the software used in each country are different, and the suggested in the questionnaire are not widely used. So the suggested from our partner universities. The proprietary software is used for many respondents according to their activity and needs. So this dedicated software that companies use. Free software solutions is also used by some companies, but is not clear their importance in the regular activities of the companies. The respondents just a minute before the slide before. Yes, thank you. Thanks. The respondents that do not know about some software would like to know more about it if it is important for their activities. And we can say that this is very positive to the project, because it is an opportunity for us to act in a transfer of technologies to these enterprises. So we have our opportunity to act as a tech transfer office in our side, and as a project to be able to make this transition of technologies that we used in the university to the industry, and make them, for one side, aware of the existing softwares, and having these training packages, package that we have in our platform. So in the next slide, we can see the platform. When we analyze the university's opportunities and threats, according to research, there was a number of, as we saw in the questionnaire, a number of softwares that are in use. We developed learning modules in that areas, and we have now the platform to train young students and workers in a way of technology transfer, because technology transfer can be also via training opportunities. So in the next slide, I have a view of the Moodle platform. I think you have already seen the platform, and all the modules are in there. Now I'm going to make a focus on the next slide, and on the next slides about technology transfer. And I return to the image of the technology transfer of the bridge between university and industry. So in this way, we are going to understand a little bit better what is technology transfer. That is the module that we have developed within this need of this project. So the next slide, we can see a first glance about what is technology transfer. And we can see that in addition to the useful day-to-day life of universities and higher education institution, that is the HAEI, that is there, higher education institutions, the universities should make exploitation of the research results as a strategic goal. And the process of technology transfer, or science and technology commercialization, is the mean to support the economy and to support companies. And this technology transfer is made of this bridge and channeling the knowledge from universities to and from public research and the ecosystem around university to the industry, in order to make a competitive advantage of the regions where the universities are located. And not all that, but also internationally. That's why a project like this makes also sense. In the next slide, we can go deeper on this understanding of the technology transfer. I was going to show you the site of TecMinho, but in these circumstances I can't do it, so I just will send you then this presentation to show you how we work. So we have two departments, one department on technology transfer with commercialization and intellectual property, and one department on training and development. So in the next slide, we can see that what we do usually in a technology transfer office is to boost and support companies and researchers on the development and commercialization of ideas and technologies. And also to within the commercialization of science and technology, we can develop by different activities. Develop this technology transfer in different activities, and that can be creation and management of strategic R&D in the side of universities or in the side of the enterprises. We saw that in Slovenia, one of the persons that replied was from a research department of a company. So research can exist inside the companies and inside the university, and can be bridged from one side to the other. We can do that commercialization of science and technology via partnerships, collaborative research between university and enterprises. We can do it via industrial property, protection, patents, and licensing. So if you invent something either in the side of the university or in the side of the company, you can register and protect this property, and then you can sell it and earn some royalties about the products that you have developed, and patenting these products, technologies, or services. And you can also commercialize this science and technology via startup spin-off creation, so creation of a company that will support this commercialization of a technology. In the practical part of this module, we will see from our colleague Antonio Diniz a presentation of his startup company, spin-off in this case company, that was created in the textile sector, and that we can see what is doing. So it will be a practical case on spin-off creation. In the next slide, we can see that technology transfer can occur for different channels, informal channels or formal channels, and in general, intellectual property or IP refers to inventions and other material which can be protected under patent, copyright, and trademark law. It includes patents, know-how, copyright, trademarks, and service marks. So in the case of knowledge, science technology can be transferred entirely from informal channels or formal channels. It depends on the relations of this between the research departments of universities and the research departments of companies, or the needs of companies, and how we can bridge. That's why I represent this in a bridge where people that, for instance, in our office, we have 25 people that go from one side to the other to identify needs and identify solutions from one side and the other of the university and the companies. So we mix this informal and formal kind of channels in order to bridge these relations between university and industry. Next slide, please. So, in summary, technology transfer is the commercialization of research in very rewarding for all parties involved. Many times, big amounts of money are involved, either in the research activity, during research and after research, when you have a technology that are commercialized. Big contracts are produced, patents and royalties are bringing money to companies and to university. From the researcher's point of view, research commercialization offers the reward of seeing their work taken up by a company and turned into a product. So the research or technology that a university is researching can be transformed into a product. Being actively involved in the commercialization process also provides researchers with a unique opportunity to gain insight into the commercial process, thus improving the understanding of the working and the commercial world. So in the side of the university, this is a gain for the researchers that can, in a way, be in contact with the companies and understand how they work, and so do better their job of teaching the students or researching, and also provide technologies that are useful to the companies they work with. The positive aspect of spin-offs is that the researchers who are attuned to the requirements of the commercial world should increase their success rate in the getting grants, and should also benefit economically from that technology. So if you sell a technology to a company, we have in our institution different situations where students, for instance, doctor students from our university that go to a company, a big company in the textile sector, for instance, and develops some kind of technology that then will make profit for this company. Then the researcher, this doctor student, have a part on the profit of selling this product that is usually patented. And in the side of the university also, there is royalties for the university for this technology. So it's a win-win situation. The companies win because they sell more products. The university wins because it is patent research and more research underway, and the ecosystem is working. The researchers, of course, the most important parts are making this all this ecosystem work together with these technology transfer offices that can make this link. Next slide, please. So the most important activities, typical activities for technology transfer is scouting, screening and business plan, business development, and European patent registration and commercialization licensing. So scouting is a kind of a technology watch where you are looking for the opportunities. You are analyzing the market. We are making contacts with companies and doing this technology watch, either university and in the companies, like we showed before in this SWOT analysis. We look at the company's needs, we look at the offers of the university, and we match this and understand what is needed and what we can offer to the companies. So then we have this screening process where we can better understand how to prepare a contract or a business plan. So being able to understand if we are going to reply to this problem or to this question of via a business or via a technical solution. Then if it is a business, we have to develop the business. For instance, in our office, we have an entrepreneurial part of technology transfer department where we teach teachers and students on how to make their own business and to make a spin-off company. It's part of the job of a technology transfer office to develop businesses. And then also in our technology transfer office and in general in technology transfer, we need to have the patent registration. So just to give you an idea how it works, when you develop some technology, you must see if this technology is new, in fact, or already exists. If you want to patent it, you must go and research on databases of patents and understand if this technology or product or service already exists at national level, European level, international level. Then you must patent this technology to be able to commercialize it. So when you register, you must pay for registration, and you must pay for a patent for national or for international or for European level as different values. So first you research if there is already this technology. So it is a process that we help and the technology transfer offices help to do. Next slide, please. So we have this idea of innovation ecosystem, as I said before, and this ecosystem allows that in all stages of the management of technology transfer, the risks, opportunities, and potential synergies of collaboration between scientific advantages and needs of the economical sector and the social sector are identified. As we saw before in our study for this project on our SWOT analysis. The process of assessing technologies begin with identifying technology needs and searching for the most appropriate know-how to respond to this situation. So if a company asks us, how can I develop this kind of product, we must identify in the university where is the department that can help them to develop this technology, if there exists such a research going on. And so when we speak about innovation ecosystem is to see how can we solve this question of this company that identify a technological need, and how can we face this reply to the company via the university, via a research institute, via an international university. We must find these connections and have an ecosystem that allows us to bridge this link between demand and supply of technologies. In the next slide, I explain a deeper way how to identify the technological needs. Technological requirements. The company identifies the technological need that can help to solve the technological problem and prepares the research. And in the side of the universities and R&D, the technological offers the organization or where to apply them. So this is the two sides of the bridge, in the side of the requirement and in the side of the offer that exists in the market of research and development. In the next slide, we go deeper. So we are going deeper and deeper in terms of understand how the process of technology transfer works. And it is also available on Moodle platform in much more detail than the one that I am giving it to you, but this is an overview of what is in the module. So identifying a technological needs, identify the opportunities and needs, analyze in deeper sense the opportunities, negotiate terms of collaboration, that is very important, and negotiate technological agreements. So after we identify the opportunity, we must analyze it in depth. We must talk with the researchers and and we must see how can we collaborate, and then we must write some kind of a document that will be the base of negotiation between this collaboration between both parts, the industry and the university or the research department, and so we stand for a negotiation of technological agreements as the most important step in the first place to have this research developed. Later, in the next slide, we can see that the relation between these processes and the words that I was using before. So when we identify opportunities, we are scouting. When we analyze the opportunities, we are screening, and then we make the negotiation of terms. So these two terms that are usually used on technology transfer terms, and they are very well explained in the material that is in the platform, the Moodle platform for Module 6, are here more lightly explained in this slide. In the next slide, we speak about spin-off and startups, because this is a crucial part of the way a university can commercialize their products. So after producing a technology, university have in hands something that can be explored by commercializing it in terms of business. And so university promotes the environment that can allow researchers to create spin-off companies. And for instance, in our case, we have this entrepreneurship department. We have a program of 6 months that help researchers and students to develop their own business from the needs analysis of this business until marketing of the company. So, and at our university also we have spin-off programs. So we have the label, spin-off label for companies that work in, that are created in University of Minho context. So spin-offs and startups. Spin-offs are more close to university, so they are still spinning off of the lab, and startups are already more a little bit more on a side of independence and outside, usually outside university. So in spin-offs usually are in the context of the university. So in our case, for instance, in Minho University, we have a spin-off label that that the universities can, that researchers and students can create their spin-off, and university, if it is according to certain rules, the university clicks a stamp that will allow the company or the spin-off to show the university interest on their work. So in the next slide, I explain how is this process of learning how to be a company inside a university is done. So in the first place, we have the creation of idea, then the business model and business plan, that is called acceleration, and then we have the execution, that is the creation of the company. So registering the company name and etc., etc. So in the next slide, this is a summary. So the four stages to create a company or a startup is to have a business idea and to integrate acceleration programs like the one I was speaking about we have in our university, where students and teachers can learn the process from the technology to the market, and then pass by a pre-incubation system, and then incubating the company let's see what all these terms means. So the stages means. In the next slide. So Business Ideas Acceleration Program aims to support the first steps of an idea, starting by testing the viability, supporting the development, analyzing if this product has potential in the market, if there is competitors, if the market needs this product, because in the research area, many times the research may be done with research objectives and not with market objectives, so not market-led. So many times we have very good products, but they are not needed yet in the market. So, for instance, it occurs many times in the 3D sector. For instance, now it is taking more and more 3D inside companies, but as soon as the 3D machines appeared, it was not yet needed, even though universities had this knowledge and could transfer to companies. The market didn't have this need. So there is a need in these acceleration programs to mature the ideas of the researchers in terms of technologies and potential, and to understand if they are really an opportunity of business, and how this product or technology or service can be transformed in something that that can be put it in the market. So this is called the Business Ideas Acceleration Program. So over a certain moment in time, entrepreneurs are accompanied by a team of tutors and mentors who provide a set of workshops related to the analysis and validation of business ideas, carrying out tutoring, networking, and coaching, mentoring activities. I can say that, for instance, I was involved in one of these acceleration program processes, and I was for 6 months doing this Idea Lab program from TecMinho, my office, to try to create my own company. And I was put in a workshop environment where I learned with the university teachers what is my technology, and analyze the market and go and see if there is potential in the market, and see if there are competitors, and then go deeper on the concept of the business development. So all this period, usually of 6 months, it's a period that allows us to digest what is a market, not a university, but a market, and how enterprises work, and how they are related, where are the clients, where will the money come from, etc., etc. So it's a way to understand better how can we create pass from idea to a company. In the next slide, I have also here, I was trying already explaining the Idea Lab at TecMinho, that is this program that I explained that I was part of, and also Antonio Didis, that will come later to explain the To Be Green company that he created from university. He's a teacher of the university, and he also passed from this Idea Lab workshops and Business Ideas Accelerator program of 6 months workshops, and go into the market to analyze the market and to speak with people and to understand how can we sell our technology. So in the next slide, then you can see in this PowerPoint that I will send you these links. Business Ideas Acceleration, in our case, we have the ideation session, the creative session, pre-selection of ideas, and entrepreneurial profile. That is another thing that is very important. Sometimes we have researchers that don't have any entrepreneurial profile, so it's needed to have an entrepreneur that have this commercial side also very active. Sometimes it's not the researcher itself, it's a student or someone that has more this profile. It is a team of business entrepreneurs that takes the project, and one is for this and another for that. So sometimes team working is important. So in the workshops, we are able to test ideas and turn ideas into business. We have, for instance, this workshop on the voice of the customer, understand the real needs of the customers and how to convert them into a business opportunity. So you can see that customer is already some word that it's not usual in the research and university side. So this is to push this idea of that a company only can survive with customers, and so you need to see where is your customer and how you will pay for a product that you are selling. Then we have the market, and understand the size of the market, the competition, understand and how you can move on this market. Then we have the strategy, another workshop on strategy, understand the position of the company in the market and its sustainability, if it is in an ecosystem that can be viable for as a company. Then the financial part, understand the economic and financial viability of the business. Then the impact, so this financial part, of course, is crucial because a company only can survive if there is money getting in, otherwise it can't. So you must understand a little bit about economics and financial viability of a business. Then a workshop on impact, understand the impact that the business has on society and on people's quality of life. And then you have this workshop that is the pitch. The pitch is where you have you must make a current description of your company, and you must convince the jury that your company will be a good company. So this is a training program made of workshop and also of mentoring. So there is individual monitoring of each project, each idea, and mentoring of this. That there is a number of mentors that help the students in going to the market and coming, etc. And the pitch day, it's the day where they present the ideas to the panel of investors and experts, and see if someone of these investors can take their idea and invest in the company. A good example, not of the program, but of a pitch day, it's a Shark Tank program where someone goes to these sharks and explain the company. So this is the usual, most known worldwide case of pitch day. It's the Shark Tank program. So to be in the moment that you can pitch your company, it's the moment where you have all the ideas inside your mind, you know where are you going, and you know that you can create a company or startup or spin-off with these ideas. So the program for accelerating ideas, it's very important to learn all these processes. In the next slide, we can see the two periods after that. That is the pre-incubation, entrepreneurs with innovative potential and interesting business projects. But still, they need to improve business plan and prepare them to enter into the market, and in a startup or spin-off, are supported by a team of consultants, specialists, that can help them to identify critical points and indicate actions, helping in the process of continuous improvement in the innovation of business. This phase of pre-incubation consists of individual and group monitoring and the definition and implementation of business ideas. So in the pitch day, if you are successful and you have an investor that invests in you, if you are more or less successful, you have a transition to the pre-incubation and to the improvement of your business plan to improve your idea and to improve your market position. And so that is the options done. If you go to pre-incubation, then you go, you can also continue into the incubation. This is like raising a child, or you go to if he's premature, so investors doesn't invest, but you can go to pre-incubation and then you go to incubation. In the next slide, we can see in the next slide that you can develop your business. The creation of technology-based companies, spin-off and startup is one of the main ways of technology transfer to bring the research to the market. So technological companies can be of two specific types: scientific spin-offs. They are a common mechanism in universities and research centers to transfer scientific knowledge, and business startup. So spin-offs more related with university, startups more related with business. Knowledge-intensive companies created from the productive environment to explore new technologies, product, process, or services in the market, and more agile, innovative, and independent way. So in the material that we have in our course in Moodle, you can have all these different examples of business development, and we have case studies that you can search and go deeper to understand all these different aspects of technology transfer through via case studies of these different types of enterprises. So in the next slide, we can see that to launch a company, we have to master a number of requirements, master the technology with commercial potential, and that is sufficiently mature, technological readiness, and with the business opportunity identified by the market, take the lead in the entrepreneurial project, and from a competitive, committed, and multidisciplinary team as possible to combine technological development and business management. So this is two sides of the same company. It's very lucky of you if you are an entrepreneur, then can have the research part and the business part. So usually there is this idea of teams, because the team can be more into this idea of having one person that is more entrepreneurial and can go to the market, it's more market oriented, and one other person that is more research oriented, that can be the one that makes the work on the research side and research and development side with a team of researchers, etc. So other requirement is to develop a new competitive and feasibility business model based on the product or service or which the business idea is based. So based on this business idea, you must understand that you must compete in the market. It's not only something that you dream of. I want to be an entrepreneur and I have to have an idea, but it's something that is in the market in the first place. There is the customers and you need to make money. So you need to think not only in the technology, but how to put it in the market. So then you must be also worried about the protection of this research and protection of this idea, business idea. So that could be a source of competitive advantage and of intangible assets. For instance, I saw different examples of patents from companies. The company, for instance, that makes technical textiles or technical socks for diabetic persons, they patent this technology, and they earn royalties from that. So this is also a way to do it. So protect scientific knowledge is the protecting word that we are speaking about. Develop an innovative, solid commercial strategy to assess the market, and develop a parallel networking strategy to future innovation. And I think for now it's all. I try to give you a broader idea of what is technology transfer.